Alright, what's going on everybody and welcome back. The 8 worker start has thrown everyone's builds into chaos. Today we're going to talk about how to get you started with Zerg builds on the 8 worker start and how to make sure you can adapt so you're not completely lost because your build orders, especially your first few minutes, just got thrown in the trash. So we're going to show you how to open up on the new patch. Alright, what's going on guys? Let's talk through the Zerg openings on the 8 worker start. Now this is of course like day 2 of the patch. It's very early. But let's just talk about the most standard openings we can do. So first things first, guys, we're going to start with the version that I would say is probably going to be the most common and generic, but also one where you could argue this one's going to be a little bit riskier, especially on like a 4-player map. But it's essentially a no-scout hatchery first. Let the Overlord scout your opponent and just play as greedy as you can. Now, we're going to start with an extractor trick here on 13. So you build the extractor, start a drone, and then you cancel it to get above supply, and then we build a 13 Overlord. This is kind of standard, but if you're not comfortable with an extractor trick, if you're, you know, below diamond, I wouldn't recommend it. Just go for that Overlord on 12 supply, and otherwise follow everything exactly the same. Of course, the build order write-up is going to be down below in the description. Who knows, maybe we'll even edit it onto screen if we have a bit of time to do that. Trying to just get these guides out to help people figure out this patch as quickly as possible. So we're going to go 15 hatchery. Now, we're going to accept not like having a bit of idle lava, having a bit of undersaturation, because if you go too high, there are a lot of proxies and all-ins that could absolutely ruin you. This is already on the greedier end of the spectrum, in my opinion. I know a lot of players are trying to basically just say, I need to have 16 workers as quickly as possible. I can't not. I have to have 16 workers. But we're going to go 15 hatchery, 16 pool. We're happy to be slightly under saturation because if a proxy Reaper comes in, we don't want 45 seconds of a Reaper in our base without having any units. That spawning pool should have been a few seconds faster there. You can see that was a little bit late. If you want to be even safer, you could do this on 15, but this should be no later than a minute 35 on that. Now, you start 2 drones, guys, or you start as many drones as you can. First one that pops out is going to take a gas. The other ones, we just want to saturate on the minerals. See, we got 16 on minerals. And then, see, we got 3 drones that are going to go onto the gas. It's okay, I know it's not ready yet, but that's all right. Our second Overlord is just going to sit outside our base on this map. You could send it across depending on the matchup. And then we want a 19 Overlord, which we'll put down here, okay? So we see he's not here. We're going to go scout this base and then this base. Like I said, you are playing a bit more blind. We're not drone scouting with this. We're just waiting for our Overlords to see what's up. We could send this Overlord in this direction, actually. And then pool's done. We want to start 2 queens. And we'll start 4 zerglings, okay? So we're going to start 4 zerglings as standard. And then we can just be droning up. Now, you do still want to build another Overlord, usually about 28 supply, just to make sure you can react. Build units as you need. And we want to go for a 32 supply 3rd hatchery. But before we do either of those things... Ooh, actually, let's say 30 supply Overlord. I think is fine. I think 30 supply is totally fine. Pull off gas. Let's get ling speed. And let's send a drone over to the 3rd base, okay? Now, if there's a Reaper there or something, you might have to delay this a little bit. Let's go 2 injects, move our queen to the front. We're going to build 2 more drones. So we go to 32 supply on workers, guys. We've got 4 lings defending, 2 queens. We're going to go 32 supply 3rd hatchery, which is very similar to live. Did I build the Overlord? Looks like I didn't build the Overlord. Okay, I thought I'd started that Overlord. I would say start the Overlord before the hatchery, guys. Like I said, 30 supply, something like that. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but normally you'd be going for a queen immediately after that hatchery. So it's 32 supply, 3rd hatchery. Go straight for a queen, and that's it. Let's take a look at the notes in the write-up just to make sure you guys understand what we're talking about. So it's this one here, guys. This is a no-scout opening. 15 hatch, 16 pool, rally next drone to take gas. 19 Overlord, pool finishes, 2 queens, 4 lings, at 100 gas, make ling speed, pull off gas, 32 3rd hatchery, 31 3rd queen, and drone up. Now I've got a few other variations here. I think this start is the main thing. From here, you can play just like a 12 worker start with what you know. Getting this early game down, getting the new Overlord timings, the hatch timings, the pool timings is the hardest bit. If you want a follow-up that's a little bit like a set safety timing, just follow the same rule you would on the 12 worker start. See, if you want a generic safety time after the opening, similar to 12 workers, once you get 2 base saturation, so 2 mineral lines in a gas, mining, so you can, basically once your 2 mineral lines are full, you build a roach warren or a bane nest, whichever one you prefer. Are you playing Ling Bane or are you playing roaches? And add a 2nd gas and resaturate the gas in your main. And once that roach warren or baneling nest is done, make a round of roaches or a few banelings, just so you're safe in case hellbats come in case glaive adepts come in in case your opponent attacks you with some Lingbane or some Roaches. And that's just a generic safety timing. But as long as you've made sure you've saturated 2 bases on workers before building that extra army, you will be okay. Of course, there is another question I'm sure some of you are going to have, which is, well, when do you build Zerglings here? And that is going to be depending on your scouting, the matchup, and your own preference. Some people like to just build defensive things by default, right? They like to just build a pack of Zerglings here. And if your opponent's in your face or there's Hellions darting around, sure, go for it. But generally try to drone as much as you can. Now notice, this point here, after the third, I'm building a lot of Overlords. Your hatcheries only give 4 supply, not 6 now. Your third base is a little bit later. So notice I'm going to be building lots and lots. But let's just show you guys. So we're building more drones, and then we can go, oh, look, we're on 2 bases, guys. So let's spread a bit more creep here, do injects. And what can we do? Let's say Banelings. Let's say we play Banelings. Well, guess what? We can't go Banelings because we haven't put back on gas. But we can do this. Put back on gas there. Put on gas there. And now we can rally to the third. We've got two things getting saturated. If we want, we can start a 4th queen. Hell, you could even start a 5th queen if you want. If your opponent's, say, what if you're playing Protoss? They've gone Oracles, right? We might need to build a Spore Crawler in each base. We could delay these if we're playing against TERRAN. Bring the 3 queens to the front. Let these 2 new queens coming out be the ones that replace them. And just build a few more drones to slightly oversaturate these bases, guys, just so we don't ever want to be under 16. And like I said, if you want to follow that safety timing, rather than droning your third straight away, build a round of Roaches. So we've just built 6 Roaches, added them to our hotkey. We've got new queens popping out, and then of course we can drone that third up. Now this is obviously just a very generic kind of, I guess, lower level follow-up. If you're a pro gamer, everything's going to be way more flexible based on the situation. But I think this opening is probably the most generic, the most normie, the most familiar to a lot of very defensive players on the live version of, well, not the live, the previous live version of the game. And I think this is the one most people are going to be copying. All right, guys, 13-13 opening. First things first, if you can split 1 or 2 of the drones, that's always amazing. This is the very safe build order with no scout because you get your queens out very early. It's essentially the 15-15 Eric opening adapted to an 8-worker start. Because we've got an increase to lava production, this is like day 2 of the patch that I'm making this video, guys, where they've done some pretty big changes. So it's something where right now, you want to grab that drone, do an extractor trick. You just go like this. You can go there. You can go there. These guys not wanting to stay on the closer patches, unfortunately. And grab your 13th drone, rally it to the natural. Let's make sure our camera locations are set up. 4th base there, 5th base there. 13th drone will get there a little bit early. You do need 300 minerals. We are going to be floating a fair bit of lava with this build order. I think in general, if they keep the increased lava production, you're always going to be floating lava with every build. There is no way around this, guys. It's fine. Don't get stuck into being worried about lava efficiency. You have so much lava, that is not the problem. The problem is getting the hatchery and the pool up at a timing where you're not going to just get completely wrecked by Proxy Reaper or, you know, this or that early Zergling pressure. All right, guys, you want to go straight for that spawning pool on 13 here. So that's 124. We got the spawning pool down, okay? Good benchmark. So if you want to check the time your pool gets down, your hatchery gets down, compare it to this. I would say I'm not doing this perfectly. I'm also very new to this patch, but I think we've got reasonably tight timings. Unfortunately, I've noticed on these maps, a lot of these drones do not keep mining on these patches. They will just randomly bounce off these close patches, which is quite annoying. Now, obviously, you do want to... Jeez, boys. You want to make sure you prioritize your minerals. This is going to be a gasless opening, because we're going to go straight into Roach. You could do Ling Speed after this, but you're going to have to delay it a little bit. If you want to go Ling Speed at a normal timing with this opening, your third base is going to be quite delayed. Now, save minerals on 18, guys. So you need a lot of minerals to build 2 queens. These are 175 mineral queens. You can see I'm just shy of the minerals here. I think if my workers didn't bounce around as much, that would have been nice. Build 2 Zerglings from the natural, and notice we're queuing them around the edge. Against Zerg, it doesn't really matter, but if this was a TERRAN or a Protoss, that would be really nice to go do stuff. Let's build an Overlord, build some more drones. Now, obviously, you could take gases now, but we should have built that Overlord immediately after building those 2 Zerglings. That was a little bit slow. If you want, you could double Extractor Trick here. We're not going to bother. We're just going to wait for the Overlord to pop out. Build another Overlord while we're waiting. You do need a lot more Overlords in the early game than you might be used to. Hold down that drone key. Inject. Inject. As you can see, this is not perfectly executed, so you should be able to hit similar timings to this at home. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a third queen in the main immediately. But this queen, when she injects, she's joining the front. She's already on my creep queen hotkey with the other queen, if that makes sense. Now, notice we're building one more overlord as well. These are the two lings, which normally we'd kind of run in, try to delay the command center by killing the SCV, or hopefully we dodge the adept, we run in, we get a full scout of their base, that sort of thing. But let's just focus on the build. This is obviously just an easy AI. All right, guys, 40 supply. Key point. Why? What do we do at 40 supply? We build 2 gases and re-rally the main to itself because we're going to have to saturate these gases. And then as soon as we can afford it, we go for a roach horn as well. So 40 supply, 2 gases, roach horn. You know what? We can just actually bring this queen to the front. Put a creep tumor down. Now, you want to send a drone to the third about now as well. But you can see we've got a lot of stuff to do. We've got to put guys on gas. We've got to keep injecting. And we want to see, okay, so if we've got 2 more in the main, 2 more in the natural, that's going to be 2 bases fully saturated. We could build another 2 overlords so we're not supply blocked. And 48 supply is probably going to be a pretty good moment to build that third hatchery. And you might be thinking, okay, what do we do next? Well, you can go for a lair, you could do all sorts of other things, but first things first, if there's Hellions or anything getting in, you might have to build an Evo to block the front. And of course, the moment your Roach Horn's done, we've skipped Ling Speed, we've already been just relying on Queens till now. Build a bunch of Roaches. We're going to build 6 Roaches, and then we can drone the base, we can build more Overlords, more drones, we can take more gases, we can kind of do whatever the hell we want from here. Point being, you've got those Queens up really, really early. Which means if there's an early rush, you can build Zerglings faster, you can drop Spine Crawlers faster, your natural is up quicker, which means the Queen's out earlier, the creep is there earlier to put Spine Crawlers down. It's going to be easier to defend a lot of early aggression. This should do very well against 10 pool in ZVZ. This should give you a better starting point to react very quickly into maybe there's Proxy Marine or Proxy Gateway Zealot. You still might give up the natural, but because your spawning pool's up faster, you can maybe run the queen from the natural to the main to keep her alive. You can drop a roach horn, build 2 gases. You can kind of adapt faster. Whereas if your hatchery's up later on the natural, your pool's 10 seconds later, which it often will be. I've seen a lot of people going 18 pool or 18 gas, 17 pool after 15 or 16 hatchery. With those build orders, you are going to have your pool down at like a minute 40. Maybe a minute 38 at the earliest, which is like 14 seconds later than this spawning pool. You're really going to struggle against cheesy builds, proxies, and things like that. So this is kind of the safer option, but because it's very awkward to go Ling Speed, that's why I'm showing you the Roach variation. And as you can see, it does delay your third a lot, but I think because you get your 2 bases filled with workers so quickly, it's kind of nice where you naturally build some army for safety at this point, and then you can always flood drones out of this third. Like people be like, oh, your third's not ready. You can already start droning your third. Even if they do one long distance strip, there's a lot of players, I even see pros, who are like, oh, I can't drone this base yet. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, it's not ready. And I'm always like, what's wrong with you? Who cares? You're allowed to build drones ahead of time. PROTOSS and TERRAN do this all the time. But Zerg players are so used to expanding minutes ahead of having the drones that sometimes we forget. You can drone this base before it's done. And look, by the time they pop from the main in the natural and get over there, these guys will do 1 long distance return trip, and then they'll just be mining as normal. These ones I just built, they're going to be perfectly fine. You can go, you know, lair, Evo, chamber, double Evo, whatever it is. Obviously, it's going to be matchup dependent and style dependent. The important thing here is we're teaching you guys the openings, and that is the second Zerg opening. Now, a final bonus one. We're going to talk about what was my favorite way to do this when the Overlord was super slow. In this version, they've made the Overlord back to close to the old 12 worker Overlord speed, so it's not as attractive, but basically split your drones, build a drone, send your Overlord across, and then grab one of these starting drones and send it across the map. So the idea is we're going to drone scout, be annoying with this drone, disrupt their build, but most importantly, check if we're getting cheesed straight away and have plenty of time to adapt our build to the situation we're in. I just really like this because I love trying to get a feel for how my opponent's playing earlier in a game. The more interaction in an RTS, the more I'm seeing what my opponent's doing and kind of adapting my plan to their plan, the more fun it is, even if I am sacrificing a large amount of minerals to send this guy across the map so early. So we're going to do an extract trick behind this. We've gone 13 Overlord. The trick is, guys, so we're going to imagine... Pause. If you don't see a barracks there, oh god, we don't see a barracks. We see a pylon, but no gateway. We go in there, we realize this guy is not going Nexus first. He's not building probes, he's not building... There's not many SCVs, and you can tell by looking at their worker count in the main base. So you might go in a bit more. And you might go, oh yeah, there's not as many SCVs as there should be here, right? Now this is obviously very, very fancy, guys. Very fancy. This is, like I said, this is not as recommended as the previous build, so I'm showing you last. Because the first times I did this on ladder, I actually saw people going command center first and Nexus first, and I thought I was being proxied because I wasn't used to the timing. So I was like, there's no barracks, he's proxying me. And of course, what is the response if we see a proxy, guys? So if we see a barracks or gateway proxied, we want to go immediate pool and gas, 15 pool, 15 gas, go roaches, squeeze in a hatchery when you can. Going to shut down any sort of proxy. Problem is, if you react and they're actually going command center first or Nexus, well, you're basically doing a really fast roach all in. You better go do some damage. So you've got to actually make sure they are slightly down on the workers in the main base. And we can maybe show you guys that in future. But if they're constantly building workers and their Nexus or command center is about to go down, you don't need to stress about this. Normally, though, most people aren't doing CC first or Nexus first. And basically, if you don't see the barracks or gateway proxied, we will go down this line of 15 pool, 15 gas into a roach farm. Squeeze in a hatchery when we can. Now, if they've gone 10 pool with a gas, you want to do the same reaction because this is also very all in. So in ZVZ, if you go in there, that's 10 pool timing and gas, then you will be, and you can tell just by comparing to your own timing. If you go look at your base and you're like, I don't even have his pool started, I'm on 13 supply, and this guy's pool's already like halfway built, obviously it's a 10 pool, right? This is not particularly hard to figure out. But you want to do the same reaction. 15 pool, 15 gas roach horn. Now, there is one last option. What if it's 10 pool, but there's no gas? So if it's just a 10 pool with no gas, you want to still expand and defend gasless. You go 15 pool, 15 hatch, and you want to defend with queens, drones, and zerglings. No gas. So you can then just defend your hatchery, keep it alive. You can let your hatchery tank a fair bit of damage, but you want to pull a pack of drones, try and basically attack the lings, pull back, attack the lings, pull back, just so he can't keep attacking the hatchery nonstop. Your lings join up. You can defend the hatchery, go back to mining, get your queens injecting, and then just build your economy. And you can obviously add gas after that, go roaches, you can go ling speed, you can do whatever you want. Point being, if they don't have a gas when you drone scout early on, there's not that much they can do. You could also in that scenario do a bonus thing like hide your drone and then block them expanding while they're attacking you with zerglings, because with a 10 pool, they are going to want to take a hatchery. So you could actually dance around with the drone on their natural, and if they don't split some lings to chase your drone away, then they're not going to be able to expand behind their push. Big, what if they build spines? All right, so what if they like pull all the drones and stuff? Then you can obviously give up your natural. You've gone pool first, you should be way ahead. You don't need to fight for your natural, you just need to fight in the main. If they're building spines or pulling all their drones with a 10 pool, they are completely all in. And you can pull every single drone to fight, and you just need to survive on one base. If you survive with like 5 drones, you're ahead in that situation, because that is the most extreme all-in they can do. But the same reaction works just fine. 15 pool into 15 hatchery. You're just willing to give up the hatchery once you realize they're bringing their drones to the fight. Okay, guys, so now we've talked about the many options. Let's just very quickly imagine this is a normal game. This guy's gone for a barracks at home, so we're going to attack the barracks SCV while being greedy at home. So hold down the drone key. Drone's just going to run in. Whenever they chase you with an SCV, you can run away, heal a bit, and then come back and attack the guy building the barracks, okay? Now we're going to go for a 17 hatchery at home behind this. Why 17? Because we know our opponent, their build is very standard. They're not being super aggressive, number one. And number two, we're harassing them. We're delaying their barracks. We're ruining their build a little bit by being annoying. You guys know I like to call this drone Captain Dickhead. If you micro a drone to an absolutely wild amount, his name is Captain Dickhead. Basically, this is you just trying to tilt your opponent with something that very few people will bother doing. Most Zerg players do not enjoy worker scouting, worker harassing. They never do it, and as a result, most opponents are just not used to it. So you can go for a 17 pool, guys, and you can go for a 17 or 18 gas as well. Pretty chill. This is nothing crazy. And, of course, in between, you can be harassing, and then you can pretend to run away again if you get low, and you can hide over here. I don't actually know the exact game timer, so that's something for you guys to figure out. Maybe I'll talk about it on my stream a bunch. Probably about 2 minutes, 2 minutes 10. They're going to want to go for a command center. You come in here, you block them building the command center for another 10 seconds. We can build an overlord here on 19 behind this to make sure we don't get supply blocked. Oh, we're getting low. Hop in the extractor. What you're going to see here is if your overlord hangs here, they're not going to want to sit there attacking the extractor. They want to harass you. So what are they going to do? Well, guess what, guys? Their Reaper's going to go across the map. You're going to see the Reaper jump out. And then Captain Dickhead comes out and keeps attacking the SCV on the command center. And this is infuriating. You build 4 Lings, you could even build 6 behind it. They bring another SCV down. Maybe the Reaper comes back. You hop back in the extractor. This costs you very little. This is 25 minerals each time you build the extractor, and you can just keep canceling it. And you can be so annoying. Now, this is especially good against TERRAN. You can, to a certain extent, do it where you take a gas in the main to try and scout what PROTOSS is doing next. And if they still send the Reaper across, I often like to just click the Lings into their natural anyway, while this drone's distracting them. Because the Queens can usually defend us at home. Might need to do a little bit of drone micro, and we'll just figure it out from there. Now we're going to pull off, do a normal build from here, guys. Inject. And we want 32 third hatchery, remember? So that's what we're going to do, guys. 32 third hatchery. So we've pulled off gas. We've got Ling speed on the way. We'd accidentally let Captain Dickhead. He's probably dead by now. Often what I like to do is if he survives this long, I cancel and I run him home. Often he ends up killing the SCV while these Zerglings kill the Marine. And you can do some good stuff. Oh, I accidentally built the drones. Meant to go third hatchery, queen, and then that round of drones. Slight misordering for me. But this is a pretty adaptive variation, so it's not going to absolutely ruin you. So there we go. Get that third queen. So it's normally 32 third hatch, 31 third queen, and then you continue droning and building overlords and all this sort of stuff, okay? Very similar to what you know from 12 workers. You can just play like it's a 12 worker game from here with a slightly different start. Obviously, the expansions give you slightly less supply. The pacing's slightly different. It's not going to be so massively different that you can't just take what you know from 12 workers and apply it from there. Of course, we're going to do actual better build orders, more refined build orders as we figure things out over the coming weeks. There also could be big patches over the coming weeks that change these things. So these openings are definitely something that could change, but this is day 2 of the patch. We want to put something out so you at least have something to follow along with. But stay tuned. We'll let you guys know. We'll probably pin a comment if we end up superseding these build orders with better variations. I have a feeling these will be good enough to probably be used 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, assuming the 8 worker count does stick. But I'm sure we'll be able to optimize them a little bit more if you are a higher level player. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.